In the pillars of the earth, the people of Kingsbridge built a great cathedral. In World Without End, their descendants coped with the most terrible plague that the human race has ever known, the Black Death. And in A Column of Fire, they lived through the political earthquake that shook Europe in the 16th century, which was Protestantism. The story begins in Kingsbridge. In 1558, our young hero goes to work for Princess Elizabeth, and he comes here to this house, Hatfield Old Palace, which is where the princess lived before she was queen. And he finds himself at the heart of the intrigues of English politics. In the 16th century, Europe was divided into Protestants and Catholics. When Queen Elizabeth I became Queen of England, she was the only Protestant monarch of a major country. Before she became Queen, Queen Elizabeth said, "It is my dearest wish that when I'm Queen, no man will be killed for his beliefs." Queen Elizabeth I became public enemy number one in Europe. Everybody wanted to assassinate her, the Pope, the King of Spain, the King of France. And so she set up the first English secret service to protect herself, a spy organisation, the very first. The young hero of A Column of Fire goes to work for her. He's a sort of 16th century James Bond. And so my story begins in Kingsbridge but spreads all over 16th century Europe. The important thing for me, and the reason I want to look at these places and walk around them, is that I've got to imagine these dramatic events happening. And when I come to imagine it, I need to know that I have an accurate picture in my head of what the place was like. And then I can imagine the people moving around and the drama and the dialogue and the atmosphere. If I don't know this stuff, I'm constantly stumbling over the fact that I don't know. Not knowing is an obstacle to my imagination. You know, by the time I make this trip, I've planned a scene in this city. And so my curiosity is already aroused. What would it have been like? I've got a scene on the waterfront in Seville. Well, what is the waterfront like? This is the kind of thing that you can't fudge. You have to have the exact details. You have to get them right to create that excitement. Paris in the 16th century was very different from the city we know today. I wanted to look at bits of Paris that still appear the same as they did in the 16th century. This is a map of Paris in about 1550. It's a wonderful piece of work because it's half a street plan and half a bird's eye view. This helps me to imagine my characters moving around these streets. This row of shops, or something very like it, was here in the 16th century, and I've imagined that my French hero, who's a woman called Sylvie, lives in this stretch. Her father has a bookshop and printing works, and they sell, as well as normal books, they sell illegal books, which are things like Protestant literature, such as the Bible in French. And of course, the perfect place to do it is in the shadow of Notre Dame Cathedral. Here we are in the Cathedral of the Holy Cross, on the bank of the River Loire, in the great French town of Orléans. I've just learned the original cathedral was demolished by the Protestants in 1568. They blew up the 4 pillars supporting the bell tower, and when the tower collapsed, it destroyed pretty much the whole building. Such a dramatic episode, I think I'd better put it in the book. In the 16th century, the richest city in Europe was Antwerp. Here there were Jews, Muslims, Catholics,
and Protestants.
An interesting place to take my readers to as part of this international drama. Excitement and action in a story is all very well, but it's much better if it's in aid of some cause, like winning a war. I always like these adventures to be attached to something real, and the issue in the 16th century was religious tolerance.
I still love The Pillars of the Earth, but it's been fun to write a more wide-ranging story in World Without End. And now in A Column of Fire, the scope and the geography of the novel is much bigger. I'm still incredibly fond of Kingsbridge, and so are the readers, so we still spend a lot of time there.